Sri Lanka celebrated Vesak this week, a normally colourful celebration of lanterns and lights that somewhat dimmed this year due to the pandemic. However, on our backdrop today, we will feature some of those beautiful lanterns and pandals that adorn the city in other years to bring the spirit of Vesak into your home. Welcome to Kaleidoscope with me, Savithri Rodrigo, where today we go into the Masterchef kitchen with a top 24 contestant of Masterchef Australia 2021. That's on Srilanka Life. Let's talk. Remember International Biodiversity Day with a focus on mangroves, and get some answers to the senior citizen dilemma on our Empower Capital News capsule, and light a beautiful candle with Candle House Salon in Life in 60. So Vesak is celebrated on the day of the full moon in May. It commemorates the birth, supreme attainment and parinibbana or death of Gautama Buddha. And here's our Empower Capital News snapshot. Sri Lanka's exports soared by 183% to $799 million this year compared to the first 4 months of 2020. Sri Lanka's headline inflation topped 5.5% in April. Despite the pandemic taking its toll on the economy, Sri Lanka's leading banks, including Commercial Bank, HNB and Sampath, recorded a robust after-tax profit in the first quarter of 2021. Two recent decisions by the Sri Lankan government, one on the port city and the other the ban on chemical fertilizer, has led to new business opportunities. Due to changing eating habits, duck hatcheries and organic fungicides will be in demand, while liquid biofertilizer can replace current chemical alternatives. It seems like the ladies are being seen in public again, with global lipstick sales shooting up by over 80% to $34.2 million compared to the 4 weeks in April last year. A letter written by Albert Einstein containing his famous E equals MC squared equation sold at $1.2 million. And Warner Brothers will soon feature a black Superman. Coming up, Shirani Yasaratna Devankure, Upamalika Ratnayaka and Masterchef Australia contestant Minoli De Silva. We'll be back with our Empower Capital News capsule.
When you lose faith in investing, somewhere in the financial ecosystem, a business loses its potential to grow or even survive. To endure these trying times, we see a broader perspective in investments. We see unconventional areas of investment that will regain your faith in investing. We see businesses that are already growing by taking on the challenges of the new normal. We translate decades of experience into strategies to empower you with innovative investment solutions. We are Empower Capital.
Lord Buddha was born in Lumbini, Nepal as Prince Siddhartha Gautama over 2,500 years ago. The word Buddha is more a title than a name and means the enlightened one or the awakened one. On our Empower Capital News capsule, with International Biodiversity Day being last week, we focus on mangroves, one of the world's most at-risk habitats. Mangrove forests make up one of the most productive and biologically diverse ecosystems on the planet, and in 2015, Sri Lanka became the first country in the world to protect all mangrove forests. But that commitment seems to have got lost in the swamp, with a battle ensuing in some of the coastal belts, including Bentota, to destroy coastal mangrove areas on the misguided notion that mangroves are a nuisance. I asked former country head of IUCN and advisor to Biodiversity Sri Lanka, Shirani Yasaratna, if mangroves were a bane or a boon.
Mangroves are wetland swamps, and often they are termed as useless or waste dumps, and you get lots of solid waste dump there like you saw in Karadiyana and Muthurajavela, and very often they are just destroyed by encroachment, by filling, and most people are very ignorant of their value. So if you take the the boon side of it, they have a diversity of species, plants and animals. They retain a lot of flood water, they filter, they purify water, so there are lots of ecosystem services. And also, more importantly, they are nature's superheroes in the fight against climate change. Now why I say that is because they are very significantly carbon sinks, and they sequester more carbon than 3 to 5 times more carbon than terrestrial forest trees. So basically if you destroy these mangrove trees, the carbon dioxide goes back into the atmosphere and then increases the chance or exacerbates climate change. So basically again it's estimated that more than 1 billion tons of carbon dioxide are released annually from degraded coastal ecosystems.
It's been a short week at the Colombo Stock Exchange with just 2 days of trading and Vesak holidays thereafter. The all-share price index inched upwards by 0.5% and the average daily turnover was at an unimpressive 1.7 billion rupees. Growing old in Sri Lanka is not what it used to be. By 2019, the aging population comprised 12.4% of the total population, which meant that Sri Lanka has one of the fastest growing aging populations in the world. With demographics changing, proper care for aging parents who are still mobile and healthy can be a challenge for children tasked with looking after them. I checked with Devan Kure and Upamalika Ratnayaka, directors of La Serena, a fully fledged retirement complex designed to look after senior citizens in comfort, why our culture needs to change.
When the parents are aging, actually the current young children doesn't have time for their parents. They're really busy. That's a rat race. Actually, when they go home, they don't have any time to entertain their parents.
In our culture, people don't feel that senior citizens themselves like to stay in the house that they were living for the past few years. They feel comfortable there. But actually, they have to make their own food, they have to do their marketing. That should not be so during your retirement. Here, you should be very relaxed. Your meals should be made by somebody, served to you, and have medical facilities around and have peace of mind per se.
A new $260 million floating park is now open on the Hudson River. Called Little Island, besides the extravagant trees and flowers, it also has a 687-seat amphitheatre overlooking the water. That's it on Empower Capital News Capsule. Coming up later is the story of Candle House Salon. But right up next, MasterChef Australia 2021 contestant Minoli De Silva is on Selinko Life. Let's talk.
With Selinko Life Pension Saver, Sri Lanka's premier retirement plan, start planning for a retirement today. Selinko Life, a relationship for life.
MasterChef Australia 2021 contestant Minoli De Silva may have got eliminated from the competition because she didn't meet the criteria of Callum Haan's kitchen menu. But her 6-dish Sri Lankan meal made the judges gasp with awe. The flavours were so precise. Born in Peradeniya and migrating to Australia with her sisters and parents when she was 6, Minoli, however, honed her cooking skills in her grandmother's kitchen in Sri Lanka when on holiday. Food for her is her creative outlet. It's her everything. But when she was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer and lost her sense of taste, Minoli fought back. And 3 years later, walked into the MasterChef kitchen to show her prowess. A chemical engineer, she cooks like one, with efficiency and efficacy, with minimum time and maximum flavour. And so, here's MasterChef Australia Season 13 contestant Minoli De Silva taking us into the MasterChef kitchen on Selinko Life. Let's talk. Welcome Minoli, and thank you so much for joining us on Kaleidoscope. We've been watching MasterChef Australia and you really took the judges by storm, or by surprise I would say, with that 6-dish Sri Lankan meal you gave them. Do you see the judges being more aware of Sri Lankan cuisine now that you've been on the show?
I think I definitely brought to the judges some maybe different curries that they hadn't tried before together. I know Jock has travelled to Sri Lanka. He went on his honeymoon, and Mal and Andy both love Sri Lankan food. And Mal knows a lot of South Asian and Southeast Asian food very well, especially Sri Lankan. But I feel like Sri Lankan cuisine is endless with what you can turn into a curry or a dish. So I think I did open their eyes to the preparation of Sri Lankan foods that maybe they hadn't seen before.
So you are a chemical engineer. Why did you decide to enter the MasterChef competition? What is it about it that pushed you into the kitchen, knowing the pressure there was in that?
I love pressure. I love the pressure in the kitchen. And it's an opportunity to be creative. And one of the things I loved most in my normal day-to-day life was cooking for a big group of people after a hard day at work. It was a way for me to de-stress, and I would whip up like lots of food for about 8 friends in about an hour and a half. And I just loved the satisfaction of being able to put together so much food that was tasty and feed a lot of people and bring people together. So Masterchef was basically another way of doing it, but also bringing Sri Lankan food to the eyes of many Australians.
So you started cooking in your grandmother's kitchen when you were 8, and that was the beginning of your love affair with Sri Lankan cuisine. How were you going to translate your roots specifically into the MasterChef kitchen?
I remember being in my Attamma's kitchen in Sri Lanka, and it's the old school real kitchen where everything's made with bricks and stone and clay pots and fire, and it was just mesmerizing. The smells that would come when cooking in a clay pot were so different to anything I've ever smelt before. And my mum learnt from my grandmother, and I just feel like cooking that way is so emotive and it makes you feel so much. And rather than just eating to nourish, I think it's important for people to learn how to eat and make it just an experience so every meal is memorable. And that's what I want to bring to Australia, and that's what I want to bring to MasterChef.
So what do you remember about your MasterChef experience?
Wow, I just remember the adrenaline rush when the judges say, all right, your time starts now. And then everyone is just into the pantry, cooking, stoves on. And I've never felt electricity when I've been cooking like I did in the MasterChef kitchen. It was just unbelievable. And I don't think I will ever feel that ever in my life. So that was a very special moment.
So we only see the glam part of the show. What are the preliminary preps that you have, that the contestants have, before we see that all glam show?
Well, every moment of every day, we are talking about food, we are practicing, we are learning from each other. And then once we get into the kitchen, it is game on. And we're all listening to the brief, because the brief is very important. If you don't meet the brief, then you can get sent home. So we've all practiced, we've all shared. It's a very helpful environment. But yeah, basically we're just talking about food, living and breathing it 24/7.
What would you like to tell others who only see that part of the show but do know the high pressure that is actually within that competition? What would you tell them?
It is. It's a very high pressure, but it's so rewarding. And I think with hard work comes great reward. So if you're willing to put in the hard yards and practice and learn, it's long days. Like, it takes a long time to film, and what you see is just like some of the best parts. But I cannot tell you how amazing it is to be on the other side and in the kitchen. It is better than I've ever thought it could possibly be.
Thank you so much, Minoli, for joining us, and good luck with everything that you are planning to do. Wanting to hone her skills, Minoli will be working with yet another famous Sri Lankan chef, Jimmy Shu, at his restaurant Hanuman. She is also on a quest to teach others to cook like her, with instinct rather than recipes. Good luck, Minoli.
With Selinco Life Pension Saver, Sri Lanka's premier retirement plan, start planning for your retirement today. Selinco Life, a relationship for life.
We are celebrating Vesak on Kaleidoscope, and candles play a big part in those festivities. So today on Life in 60, we feature young entrepreneur Bhagya Iddamalgoda, who creates unique hand-poured scented candles in reusable glass, ceramic and tin containers. And here's what I love about Candle House Salon candles: their selection of curated essential oils which accompany those beautiful candles.
We specialize in artisan scented container candles, and all our candles come in reusable containers such as glass, tin, ceramics, with a collection of uniquely selected fragrances that are all hand poured and prepared in our home studio. These are then delivered to our customers through online platforms as well as retailers and stockists. We also pioneered the online candle customization platform at candlehousesalon.com, where it gives you the freedom to fully customize our candles. One of my fundamental goals is to serve my community, and I have decided to do that through Candle House. Our projects mainly involve women in underserved areas, where we teach them basic candle making and also provide them information on how to start a business in the age of social media. So moving forward, we hope to integrate this more strongly as we come out of this pandemic.
And so we wish you a great weekend ahead, while reminding you to subscribe to Kaleidoscope with Savithri Rodrigo if you haven't done so already, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We have all been asked to be as vigilant as possible and stay indoors as much as possible, but nevertheless keep washing your hands like we do with Amami hand wash, the ideal panacea in these pandemic times for safe and clean hands. And as we remember the toll our actions are taking on the environment, here's our Kaleidoscope takeaway. Go green. There is no planet B.